So let's talk about the theory of a square nail. There's a classic structure in a square nail that looks about like this. And there's a modern structure, and we will discuss the modern structure where the upper arch is parallel to the lower arch. I hope you are, you know all the names already. So let's see. From the side, we have the center line of the finger, the upper arch. The lower arch goes from the stress point straight out parallel to the center line of the finger. The apex, if this is the center of the natural nail plate, the apex is about 40 to 50%. It can be even closer to the cuticle, even can be already 30% depending on the nail. So somewhere here is slow out of the nail bed, out of the cuticle, and straight parallel to the center line of the finger. And you will see the beautiful curve on the end. From the front, the hairline, depending on the length of the square, takes between 30 to 50% of the circle. So if it's a short nail, you will have a little bit less curvature. If it's a longer nail, you will have a lot of curvature. Very short nail with a lot of curvature doesn't look beautiful. From the top, the side walls are going absolutely straight. And the square is just like that. You can make a soft square. Soft square is if you take on the end about 45 degrees angle, then the square will be a little bit softer. Okay? Here you can see two nails. This nail is made absolutely straight out, and this nail is a little bit tapered in. The tapered in nail is wrong. If you want to make actual square nail, competition style, or the actual square nail, this would be the square nail. And I want to see how good you are at the square nails, and depending on your level, you can make either a short salon version or a longer competition style. And I will show you both of them, and you can make both of them, but this will give me the opportunity to see what level you are at, if you're a beginner or if you're advanced nail technician, and depending on that I will give you also my feedback and what areas you have to work on. Now let's talk about the form application. When you're applying the form for the square nail, you have to, and for the modern square nail, you have to make sure that your form sits perfectly in the stress points, right? Probably like this. And then from there, you can see if you're applying the form absolutely straight, let me zoom it in a little bit. If you're applying the form absolutely straight, then the upper arch will go down to meet the form. So in order to keep the upper arch straight out, you will have to lift the form up. The higher the form, the shorter the nail. Plus, if you make a short nail, you don't have to have that high of an apex, so your nail will be a little bit smaller, about here. And that's why the curvature will be also a little bit smaller. If you apply 5 forms, it doesn't mean that all of them have to have the same angles. But about the angles, I will tell you in one of the next videos. If you look at these nails, you might think that they're square, but they are not. First of all, the upper arch as you can see here, goes down. The lower arch is straight out. The end is filed 45 degrees angle, and from the top these nails are a little bit tapered. This is an elegance shape. It is a long version of an elegance shape. If it would be filed, if it would be pinched a little bit more and filed 90 degrees angle, then it would be a ballerina. That's what many people call coffin shape, but we don't call it coffin, we call it ballerina because it actually looks like a ballerina shoe, and it is curved on the end. It is not flat on the end. Okay, you can see the curvature. On this nail you can see also the how it's more tapered, and here again the lower arch is straight out parallel to the center line of the finger, and the upper arch goes a little bit down. So let me take these nails off and then we will continue. So for the basic nail, we're taking basic competition form by Magnetic. For the basic, I mean for the short salon style. I don't use form support in the salon unless I have very difficult fingers and client needs particular shapes. Usually on very difficult fingers I do different shapes rather than a square, where I can fake a little bit the curvature and everything, so it's much easier. But if we have beautiful hands on a client and she wants actual square, not tapered, not anything, and or if you're going to a competition, you have to be able to master the square. I would recommend you to work on yourself, because when you're wearing your own nails on yourself, you always check it, you know, you sit around and watching TV and then a nail like this, oh yes, here this curvature is not like that, or that arch is different from that arch, and you always look at it and you can always validate it. You can always see where the mistakes, if there are any gaps, if there are any bumps, and that's just different from when you're doing it on a model. That's why I recommend you to work mostly on yourself during this marathon. So I will make this nail just a basic short salon form nail. If you don't have those wings cut out on your forms, it is okay, but these forms are just easier to work with. You need bigger forms. The small forms that don't have these parts are not suitable. First of all, I'm bending the form about how it's going to be, and then I check the angle, and from here you can see that if your lower arch goes straight out here, I have also very beautiful curved nail, so it will be curved anyways, but my apex is pretty high. I mean, the nail itself is not prepped perfectly because I have a little bit of product left over. I'm changing my nails very often, so I don't do it, and the actual nail preparation we will eventually watch in a different video later on. So here, for the straight out shape, let me get the black file. Straight out of the apex. So I need to lift it a little bit more up. You can see this way, so wait a second, I'll bring it better to the camera. So center line of the finger, right, and then the form. That is pretty much too low. On the middle finger in particular, this joint is very bendable up. So I tend to bring the form too high up and then the whole nail looks up. So on this nail I have to be careful and not to lift it too high. But still I need to make sure that from the apex the nail goes straight out. And now I measure where do I have to cut out. Because if I have, excuse me, this skin that will push out the form, so if you have a regular form you probably can do it better. Do it the same way. Where's my red pen? to paint on it today. Here. So that skin is in the way to pinch the form together. So when you apply your form and press on it, you can see inside where do you have to cut. So this will work. But I know already that I need to count from the center. So of course we're checking if the center is straight. And now you can see that my form is pushed out. So this side of the form is much wider than the actual stress point. And therefore I need to cut out this little piece of form so I can pinch the form in without breaking it exactly here. So I'm taking the scissors and just cutting it out as this line goes. Of course, when you work on your client, you have to take off the form and so measure first and then take off and then cut it off, so you don't cut your client on yourself. You can just do it this way. Now I connect those wings here very straight. Oh, this is just such a good glue. Okay. And now I'm pinching the form so it's sitting here narrower or as narrow as the side walls. And make sure that the form is sitting up, is looking up. So the distance between the wings and magnetic form will be about 1 centimeter. Okay, depending on the nail again, on the finger. And make sure that you don't pinch your form on the end. So the form has to stand perfectly straight, pinched right here. That's why you have to squeeze it and pinch it right on the finger. So the form is sitting straight and is pinched enough so the nail doesn't look wider than it's supposed to look. Okay, the first step, I'm taking soft bond primer on this nail. Always shake all the liquids you use. Otherwise, when you get down to the bottom of the soft bond primer, you will notice how thick it gets on the bottom. So always shake it. And with almost dry brush, you don't need it wet, and you don't want it in the cuticle. Just apply a small amount on each nail you're working on. Now I'm taking Fiber Gel Pink. If you worked with the fiber already, then you might notice, or you know already how it works. If you never worked with our fiber gel, you can see here it has some fibers on it. It almost looks like dust, but it's not. It's actually fiber fabric. And the fiber fabric makes the nails made of this gel very, very strong. Let me see if I can show you this way. I will try to make a picture with a macro camera so you can see. So first of all, take a little of the product and put it down on the form. And with a little bit of product on the brush, you make your first layer on the nail, closer to the cuticle, but not into the cuticle. So when you put the first layer perfect and don't touch the cuticle, the second layer shouldn't run over that edge. And now on the edge, I'm just taking the brush and carefully Apply the product on one side and on the other. Clean the brush and make sure that I spread the product even on both sides, and clean the form where I don't need any product. You need it even on both sides, so when you're pinching, the both sides get pinched at the same amount. That's about the length. Once the product is evenly applied, we pinch the form one more time underneath here and put it for about 10 seconds in the light. After 10 seconds, we're checking with the tweezer how the gel is going. So it depends on your lamp, it depends on your gel, when can you pinch it. If you touch the gel like this and it leaves a little string, then you need to cure it a little bit longer. And now you can see the gel opens a little bit in the lamp, so it's a little bit wider here. And once we apply more product and more gel and more colors and whatever, it will be very thick. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking the tweezers, go with a 45 degrees angle on my nail and pinch it. You shouldn't feel any pain, a little bit pressure is okay. If you don't have nails on, when you don't have nails on, try first diagonally with a 45 degrees angle to pinch the nail, and then a little bit like this. And then you will feel the difference, how much painful is this and how not painful at all is this. So if you don't have any product on here, on not natural nail, sorry, on here, then you can pinch it without any pain. You pinch only the product underneath of the nail, right in here. So the natural nail plate doesn't get actually pinched as good as at all. Also, when I'm pinching on my client, I make sure that I can see the whole finger in the tweezer. So it's straight pinching. So I'm not over pinching from one side or the other one. And very gently pinch on both sides. Remember that when you pinch like this, the thumb tends to pinch a little bit more, so be careful not over pinching it. And press the form a little bit more together and go continue curing. Technically you don't have to if you're working only with the pink, but I pinch it a little bit more like 10 seconds to fixate it one more time. Take more product. Actually, I take a little bit of product and go one more time everywhere. Just first making my nail wet with the product. Now I'm applying a little bit more at the stress point. It's too much, but it's okay. Clean the brush. Don't pull the gel over the edge. Just on the side. And oh, there's something inside. Okay. So I'm pushing the product a little bit towards the cuticle and pulling it away again. Because the nail is already wet with the product again, it's much easier to spread the gel around without working on it too much. So I'm bringing it to the sides and I'm sliding it down to the edge. We had on the edge almost enough amount of product. We had almost a millimeter because I made it already a little bit thicker. So the product has to be about a millimeter thick or a little bit thinner than that, so more like a credit card thickness. Now you can see I have a little dell there. Not enough product there, but I have enough at the cuticle. So I just turn around in case the gel wants to help me and gets back to the center. Yeah, still not enough. So I add just a little bit more. And fiber gel for me personally works the best, the easiest way, because it works for me. I don't have to do anything, I just spread it a little bit, filling up the gap. So basically I'm working on the top of the ball, and don't press. So if I'm putting the gel on, I'm not pressing with a brush. I'm just working, like I have my ball right here, and then I just touch with the brush and then guide the ball with the top, on the top of it, I guess. Like I will explain in a second. Here I have a little bit too much product, as you can see, so just bring it where I don't have enough. And of course, you can use a thin brush. Let me find it in a second here. A thin brush like this, or a striper brush. And you can help yourself to collect the gel from where you don't need it. Bring it a little bit up. And if you have somewhere too much, just bring it up. I don't like filing, so I'm making sure that my product is applied perfectly. Okay, a little bit softer at the cuticle. Pinch again. Here it's a little bit thicker on this side than it's supposed to be. Pinch again underneath of the form and bring it for 10 seconds in the light. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I touch again. Gets perfectly cured. I put my tweezers and pinch. Pinch the form underneath. Very careful. Remove it from the sides. Pinch it down and bring it down. Put the clamp like this on. You can also put a metallic clamp, but the metallic clamp in this case will over pinch the square. I will explain you once it's cured why. Like this, and bring it to the light. It's completely cured. Okay. So what I want to do now, I want you now to open your camera. Make sure your lens is cleaned. Take a picture now. Focus from the side and from the top. You don't have to do this yet. You can do it after you filed it. So now we will remove the sticky layer. Oh, I wanted to show you why the metal clamps don't work. Those beautiful metal clamps that I'm always using when I'm pinching are not good for square because they are bendable. So if you pinch something like this, oops, like here, you can see you can taper them in. So they're awesome for these shapes because you can taper them in, but they're not good for square because it is very hard, and then they tend to taper in. You cannot make actually a square nail. Prep and wipe or finishing wipe. Remove the sticky layer, and of course I'm removing it without touching my skin, even if it looks like that. In the meantime, my camera went off, but I applied a hygienic file system, so I removed the backing of the sticker and applied the sticker on my hygienic file system. I'm using my portable dust collector, which is perfect for using on pedicures and if you're a mobile nail technician. Or if you have a small table where you want to remove the dust collector back and forth. And there's also a little filter that you can remove and clean, and there's an extra filter in a box. So after removing the sticky layer, now I will switch on just the quiet setting. First I remove the length and hold the finger from both sides if possible. I remove one side, just straight filing, and the second side. And my nail is actually doesn't require any filing at all, but I will just do a little bit around the cuticle, very flat. So the frame, okay, and checking the thickness of the hairline, then filing straight line from the apex to the end. So your file shouldn't go like this, just a straight nail, and then connect one side to the center and another side to the center. Making sure that all the sides are straight, like a cylinder. There is nothing no bumps and nothing all around. And then, only then I connect. You can see it's straight line on top. Now I connect the cuticle with the apex, just very gently, making sure there are no bumps, and file from underneath. You see here it'll have a little bit of product in, so people tend to file and then go inside. So once you start to go inside there, you overfile that edge. So what I'm doing is I'm going with my file parallel to the center line and parallel to the top line. I'm making sure that my lines are parallel. So I'm holding it from the top, so I'm not pushing on it. And once I achieve to a certain point, I of course take my little thin file. You can use an emery board, like a wooden file, or just file like this and go inside and file it. Sometimes it looks a little heavy if you leave the lower arch to like just a little millimeter. Sometimes you need just a little hair line higher than it is, but don't overdo it. Don't overfile this side. And then careful on this side, the same thing. And then you can see from the top, my nail is very curved, so when it would be shorter, it would be still a lot, but this is a little bit smaller than 50% of a circle. And it's just under a millimeter thickness. But I will still buff it. Again, I'm taking the hygienic file system and the buffer. I have just a couple of them in stock, so the couple packs of them in stock right now, but probably getting more soon. And just buff it a little bit. Going the same movements as I did before. You don't have to buff in a salon, but if you want to have a perfect nail for a picture, I very recommend you to buff the nail a little bit, because then the gel, the color gel that you put on top will be just fantastic. So we're not doing French now, because I just want you to focus on the shape and the form application, so I can see the level of your expertise and we can go from there. Once this is all done, I'll remove the dust. And check my nail. It's a little bit thin on one side, so make sure that it is not too thin. And not too thick. So you can see it's just under a millimeter all over. It's pretty nicely buffed. It's pretty straight. And it's not overfiled, which is fantastic. Now you can wipe it off with a finishing wipe. You can apply the soft bond primer if you want to. And I will take a red polish. I will take my favorite Ferrari red and show you a trick how you can apply gel polish very thin and beautiful. Work along, I will show you more and more secrets. So one of them, I'm taking paper palette, put my Ferrari red on it. There's a hair. I'm taking Jessica's Choice or Katarina's Choice brush and go very careful and frame the gel polish line at the cuticle. So your gel polish technically will not run around that line. Okay, now I take the gel polish, very, very thin. And apply it towards that line. Bringing it down to the end. But if you use this brush to spread it over, then you will have it very thin on the edges. And you see already how beautiful is that bleak that you get from the lamp. And if there is something you want to fix, you can fix now with the brush. And then you can cure it. And now you can apply a very thin second layer. Not even touching the edge again. There's a hair somewhere. A very thin layer. Take the brush again and just touching the edge of the product. Kind of wipe it off or spread it out depending on what you need to do. It's what happens. It just perfections it. And now you can see the bleak. There is a little something in there, so I can take it out. You can also turn it around, but there's such a little amount of the gel that it's not gonna do anything. Is that perfect bleak? That's what you want to achieve. Wait a second and then it's there. There you go. And cure again. There are many top coats you can use. Today I will use Improved Supreme Finish. You have to make sure before you apply the colored gel that you don't have any dust on the nails and on the fingers. You can also use a baby wipe to remove the dust from your skin. It's very helpful, and then just dehydrate the nail plate again. Okay, going closer to the cuticle and just swipe it down like this. So I spread it a little bit first with a flat brush and then taking it down so I have it in perfection. And I'll take the brush and again checking the bleak of the light. Perfect. Can you see that? Beautiful. And cure. Then you can use, because if you used already the finishing wipe, not the finishing wipe, the baby wipe, your nail will not look as dry. What I will want you to do, to take your phone, and once the top coat is cured, first of all, of course, the side view, the top view, ideally like this, but I know we all have uneven fingers and sometimes it looks better like this. What I want to see still, it's straight, even if it's not even. Then from the front, and then I want you to make a beautiful picture when your cuticle is not dry. So if you need to put some oil on and wash your hand, and then on the white background take a lamp. Make sure you have that beautiful bleak with a double drop, and from the same angle as, let me show you, as the lamp, you hold the camera and take a picture. Then you will have a beautiful picture here. Take the picture if you like it. If you want to post it somewhere, please use some watermarks. If you don't know how to put the watermark on, the easiest you can do, I have different apps here. One of the apps, not these ones. I have a Signature Plus. I open the photo albums and open my photo, and then you can put a text on. You can add text, double tap on it, put your name on or your salon name, but I would prefer your name. Done. You can make it a little bit opaque. Then you can also check the font and play here a little bit with the settings, with the different edge colors and shadows and then you can save it. I don't know if you can save it in the light version, but I have a full version, so I can save it, and then you can make it smaller, bigger, and however. I want your name on that picture first of all, so you can always come back and say no, it was my picture. And second, because if you post that beautiful picture on a social media, you want your name on it. If you also post it on the social media, please hashtag it with Nadia Beauty Marathon.